Hello and welcome to Baking on a Budget. Now this time what we have is these absolutely beautiful chocolate lava cakes. These are individual chocolate lava cakes, absolutely delicious. Now we have everything we need to make them over here. I'm going to run through that, tell you what the quantities are and how much this has cost. To begin with, we have 75 grams of dark chocolate and that cost me £1.08. We have 75 grams of butter at 58 pence. We have 75 grams of sugar at about 12 pence. We have 35 grams of plain flour at 2 pence, and we've got 3 eggs at 42 pence. So the total cost of this recipe is £2.22. And we're going to get 4 individual chocolate lava cakes out of that, making each one 55 pence. Now the first thing we need to do is prepare the tins for these. And to prepare these, what we need is some greaseproof paper. We'll need some tin foil. I've got some string and a pair of scissors and some lard. Now, so the first things first, we want to make a small circle to go in the bottom of these. So, I shall just get a rough measurement on that. Make a nick there. And we can fold this paper like that and cut this strip off. And then we want that to be sort of a square like that, and we can fold that back on itself like that, and then fold it again like that, and that will give us the 4 of these. So we'll cut that piece off, and again we can fold that again like that and like that, and then if we simply cut round here, we should have something resembling a circle which will fall into the bottom of those. Now let's just check and make sure. Yes, that'll sit in there like that just fine. That's good. So the next thing with the lard, what I'm going to do is just make sure these are well covered all the way around and on the bottom also. And there we go. That's it, that's well covered. So I'm going to place this in the bottom and just flatten it down, and then I'll just put a little bit of lard on top of that as well, because we want these to just pop out of these tins, and that should make it quite easy. Right, I'm going to do the same with the other 3, then we'll get on to the next bit. Prepared, we want to do, again, very similar, but this time we want a cover for the top of these, and this wants to fold over a little. So I'm going to take it there, and I'm going to take it there. And this is the same process. We just want to fold this, slice it off, fold it into 4, and make it into circles, and then just eyeball the circle. And that will fit over the top of there nicely. And the next thing we want is the tin foil. Now I want the tin foil to be a little bit larger than the greaseproof paper, so we can get it folded right down the sides of these. So I'm going to cut that about there. We've got about 1 inch over each side, so we want about 1 inch off here as well. That will do it. I don't think it's necessary to cut this into a round. This will just fold into itself and then tie around the pot. So the idea is, anyhow, we've got the pot made like that. We're going to stick that on top and crunch it over. We're going to put that on top of there. We're going to crunch that over, and then we're going to tie it up with a bit of string when we come to make these. But it's good to get all of this stuff prepped up first, and it goes very smoothly once we get into the cooking of it. Start preparing the batter itself. What we have in here is the 75 grams of chocolate and the 75 grams of butter. Now we're going to take this over to the hob, and on the hob I have a pan of boiling water. Now I'm just going to pop that in there. I'll get the whisk, and we're just going to let this stuff melt down. I'll probably need enough oven glove for this, but we just want that to melt down, then stir it all together until it's a nice creamy chocolatey sort of mixture. Okay, and there we have it. A couple of minutes later, that has all melted down, beautiful, all mixed in, beautiful, silky smooth chocolate and butter. Right, turn that gas off, and then we shall just set this aside for a moment. So the next thing, we want to get the eggs in to the jug. Could do this in a bowl if you wish, but I always prefer doing it in a jug. So that's 3 eggs going in here. And there we are. And with that, we've got 75 grams of sugar. Jolly good. Now the idea is we want to whisk this for quite some time. We want the sort of volume of that to sort of double. So it's probably about 5-7 minutes, something like that. And the idea is just get the whisk in there and keep whisking. Okay, that's had about 5 minutes. I would definitely say the volume has increased and it's full of air. This is exactly what we want. We have our eggs and sugar mix, and I'm going to get that into this bowl. Looking good. Let's get it all out of there. And now what I'm going to do is add a little of this chocolate and butter mix at a time. We just want a small quantity of that like that, and then we want to fold this in. And a little more. And I'll also get some of the flour in there, again just a little bit at a time, and just fold that into the mix. Make sure you get right down to the bottom of the bowl because it may sink down there. That is looking good. Okay, we can get a little bit more of the chocolate in at this point, and a little bit more of the flour. And we just want to keep going with this, really. Keep folding it in until all of the dry flour is mixed in, no lumps, and until all of the chocolate and butter mix is in there. Let's get all of that out of that bowl. Get more of the flour in. I've got a little bit more flour left to put in. It's just I don't want to do too much at one time because it may go very clumpy, the flour. That is looking absolutely fantastic. Pudding basins here, and I'm just going to pour this in. I'm going to leave it like that, like that. Now I've got some left in here, so what I'm going to do is get the spatula if I can get hold of the bowl. And we're going to get all of this out into these basins. Very good. Now I've left a little bit of gap on the top of these. In fact, there's more in that one. I'm going to transfer a little bit of that into that one, just get them more or less equal. Okay, so to prep these up, what we want is a piece of our greaseproof paper over the top. We want a piece of the tin foil over the top of that. And then we want a piece of string to go all the way around that and to tie it quite tightly around the top. That will do it. And that is ready to steam, to go into the boiling water. Right, same with the rest of them. And with all of those prepared, I've now got a pan of boiling water on the hob, and I'm going to put 2 in at a time because I think that's all that'll fit in the pan. Right, so in the pan what I've got is I've got a plate on the bottom, which may not be the best idea, but there it is. And I'm going to fill this up with the boiling water till they're about halfway up the pudding dishes, the pudding basins. And I'm going to say that's about it there. Yeah, right, so I'm going to put a lid on and they are going to get 15 minutes. Okay folks, the moment of truth. Let's see what we've got in here. These have had about 15 minutes in there. I'll get my scissors and just snip that string. There we go. And if we open that up, that is looking good to me. Yes, that's done there. It's still nice and soft in the middle. That's going to have to cool for some time before we can get it out of there successfully. So I'm going to set that one aside and I will get the other batch in the pan. Okay, I've just managed to get this one out of the mould and it is looking fantastic. I'm just going to break into it. Oh yes, look at that. That is beautiful. Coming out of the middle there, nice and soft still. That's absolutely fantastic. Okay folks, a homemade chocolate lava cake. That smells absolutely divine. Now I'm going to have a taste of it. The knocking in the background is just, I've got the other two in the pan at the moment and they are rattling away in there, but I couldn't wait to get stuck into them. Oh, that is marvellous. If you like chocolate, that is absolutely marvellous. The walls of it are just holding together, but holding together enough. And the inside is nice and chocolatey and gooey. It's fantastic. Chocolate lava cake, 55 pence. Cost me to make that. And quite a Christmassy thing, I thought. You know, you can make a few of these up for Boxing Day lunch, something like that. Be very nice. Sprinkling rice and sugar on top. But that is glorious. Yes. And that took just over 15 minutes in my setup over there, which is simply just boiling water. The thing rattling is the plate which I put in the bottom to keep the pudding basin off the actual gas, off the heat. Just over 15 minutes, about 17 minutes. But if you get a chance to make these, do give them a go. Very, very good indeed, I've got to say. And relatively inexpensive, 55 pence for this. It's a marvellous tasting cake. So there it is, a homemade chocolate lava cake. Can I say, if you've enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more recipes like this in the future, always very inexpensive, always relatively simple to make, and always absolutely delicious, then please do consider subscribing to the channel. In the meantime, it's not going to take me long to finish this off, and I thank you very much for watching.